Hello everyone and welcome to SuttonsDaze. Remember, if you like what we do here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and we really appreciate it. We'd like to see you come back to have more conversations with us in the future. We're continuing our preparedness series and we're still talking about food storage because this one is kind of an important one. Okay, you've gone to the trouble, you've gone to the expense, you put all that hard work in to build up that pantry, or you're building up that pantry. What are some of the enemies of your food storage? What are some of the things that could annihilate your food storage? And that's not what we want to happen. We want to be sure that we can stock up and that it's safe so that it's good to use in the future, whether that is next week, next month, next year. There are some things out there that are really bad for your food storage, and I prefer that you know about them ahead of time so that you can take preparation and precaution while you're building your pantries so that you don't have any issues moving forward. You ready to get started? Let's go. One of the really big things with food storage is making sure that there's not air, oxygen specifically, oxygen in with your food, okay? It can cause it to go bad, it can cause it to go stale, it promotes the growth of bacteria, so you want to make sure that whatever you're doing, they're always in an airtight container. Another really bad thing for your food storage is heat. Now that's a really difficult one for a lot of folks in the warmer climates like Arizona, California, parts of California, because the heat promotes food spoiling faster, okay? So even the folks that, I know I get a lot of questions about, I don't have air conditioning and it can get up to 90 here. Are my canned goods still good in the pantry if it's warm in the pantry? They are. There, there's no problem there. But for long-term storage, probably not as good. So if you're looking at, say, a year, you want to, which you should be doing anyway, you want to rotate that food out. And you might want to do it a little faster if you're in a very warm climate where you cannot control the heat in the pantry room, because food does go bad faster when it's hot. I have never seen a jar lose a seal because of the heat, but I live in Michigan, you guys. So, a hot day for us is 85 and everyone's running to the lake. But in your warmer climates, Texas, that kind of thing, it might happen. If it's ever happened to you, I'd love for you to leave a comment in the comment section below. But for the most part, you want to do what you can to keep it out of the heat. The ideal temperatures are like between 42 and 72 degrees. That's ideal. So if you have air conditioning, bonus, okay? If you don't, it's not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. You just have to really pay attention to the seals. You have to pay attention to the food itself and make sure that everything is okay, and just rotate it through in a little shorter time frame than, say, I would here, okay? Along with the heat, you also have to factor in things like humidity. Now, humidity I know about, okay? Humidity is Michigan. We're surrounded by water, so humidity is not good for your food either. It can make things go bad actually rather quickly. Food should stay stored, like I said, an airtight container, in as dry a condition as you can, okay? You really want to try to keep it away from open doors, open windows, that kind of thing where the humidity can get to it. It's not good for your food to let that humidity get to it. Have you ever eaten a cracker that was, left out on a really humid day? Yeah, okay. So another one is light. Now, they always say the big factors, with your food preservation is you want to keep it cool, you want to keep it dark, and you want to keep it dry. And the light is the really big factor here, because your food, if you have it in direct sunlight, it will degrade the food much faster, losing nutrients, losing texture, losing all kinds of appeal. You can actually take a red bell pepper and it will bleach itself out if it's left in a jar where the light can get to it. So if you don't have a dark space, you can always create one by hanging a curtain over a bookshelf or something like that. Do what you can to keep it dark so that the food lasts longer on the shelf when you're putting it up. Okay, the next one gets me. The next one is pests. Pests can come in many forms, many shapes, many sizes. Here in Michigan, we deal with not only insects, but we deal with rodents, okay? And depending on where you are, depends on the size of the rodents. I remember living in Hawaii, and the bugs there get very large because there's no killing season like there is here in Michigan in the winter, okay? So you want to make sure that whatever you store your food in is rodent proof and is pest proof. So it's got to be a tight seal, and I've seen a squirrel chew through a rubber trash can. Okay, so you want to take as many precautions as you can to store your food in the food grade buckets, but that's not foolproof. Okay, you might want to do something where you're vacuum sealing it, or you're putting it in Mylar bags to kind of cut off that scent so that they're not aware that it's there. If rodents get any hint that there's food in something, you will have a really hard time keeping them out of it. As far as like your flowers, that kind of stuff, a lot of people say 2 weeks in the freezer, and then they put it in their airtight containers. Actually, you need like 4 to 5 days. Okay, you take it from the store and you put it in the freezer, and that kills off any larvae that might be in there. Now, this may gross some people out, okay, but the larva is so minute, so small that you won't see it with the naked eye. But I know a lot of us, what are they called? Weevils. You know, you look at flour in your container that's too old, and all of a sudden there's something moving in there. Yeah, no. So regardless of, you know, how soon you think you're going to use it, put that flour into the freezer for like a week and let it kill off anything that's in there, and then it's good to put into airtight containers for use in the future. Another thing that makes it kind of difficult for storing food is time. Yep. Food is perishable. And there are some foods that just regardless of what you do, they're not going to last a really long time. So it really is a good thing to take some time to educate yourself on what foods will last longer and what storage methods. You know, we pressure can a lot, so the canning is normally good. The lids say for 18 months, okay? I'm normally like 3-4 years sometimes. But we rotate through all of our stuff regularly. That will take you a while to get to that point if you're just starting. But some of it's good for 3 to 4 years. Some of it is like, maybe not as good. But, you know, the longer it's in there, also, the more it loses some of its nutrients. And it's more that you have to watch as far as exposure to light or anything else, because that affects it also. But I've never had a jar of food that wasn't good. You know, you just keep an eye on them. And I don't know about the nutrients of it because I'm just not that educated. But they were still good to eat. They still satisfied, you know, the purpose for having them. Different foods like, say, nuts, okay? Nuts, pardon me, they have a natural oil in them. So if you store them, they're not really good for a long, long time. If you can store them, nuts are good normally in the freezer for about 2 years. They're good in the refrigerator for about a year. And if you vacuum seal them, you normally have about 6 months, give or take, okay? And there's some leeway with that, but it's something that you need to be aware of. They don't last forever. So stocking up excessively on nuts may not be the best idea. And so you want to keep an eye also on your flowers and see how long they last. There's actually a couple different places that you can go to find out the shelf life on this. Just Google is your friend, okay? So you want to be aware as you're stocking how long they're meant to last and what conditions they have to be in to last that long. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section below and I'll help you find the answers. I'm happy to do it. And last but not least is where you store it should be only food, okay? Now, if you go back to my old pantry tour video, this is what, a couple of years old, I think, and I've got all the food on certain shelves, but anything that's not food, I put on a shelf by itself. You don't want to store your laundry detergent next to your food. You don't want to store your fabric softener sheets next to your food, because the chemicals, the odors, all of that can leach into your food. Now, obviously not a glass jar, but if you've got stuff in buckets or stuff in bags, it has the potential to do that. So you want to be very aware of where you're storing everything, and you want to keep any contaminants, especially chemicals like bleach, ammonia, that kind of thing, away from where you store your food, because you don't want those to contaminate your food in any way. It's not a good thing. It could make you sick, and it just tastes bad. Okay, so these are just some things to think about as you're building your food storage. Take into consideration, kind of go back, make a few notes. If you have any extra that you want to add to it, please leave it in the comment section below. I think our viewers have some of the most amazing tips and hints and tips and tricks. There you go. Okay. So remember, if you like what we do here, please hit that like, subscribe, and share. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And until the next time, be safe.